Meet Anjali Rajgopal.
18-year-old Anjali headed to her 19th birthday with all her promises, hopes, and dreams to live life big, faced a cruel car accident, leaving her with 455 skull fractures, completely blind, unable to smell, faceless with no memory. She survived a facial reconstruction, a jaw realignment, and moved ahead with a gain of 25% vision. But since then, Anjali has been a columnist, a radio jockey, a TV anchor, public relational professional, e-commerce and digital head, now heading the East retail wing of the very popular clothing brand Indian Terrain. Between not recognizing the girl in the mirror and celebrating victories of standing up, making it to the bathroom on her own, managing physical, mental pain and anger, Anjali was thinking about career and work.
I think a lot of people would think that they weren't an option. In fact, if you thought about it practically and logically, they weren't an option. But I have never taken no for an answer. That's not who I was before the accident, and it's not who I am today. And that goes to show, I mean, at least for me, that I've never had, the accident is just something I had to deal with. It was, a massive problem. But it wasn't a problem that ever took over my larger goals. So I think if we look at it, it's like being removed from the scene was kind of what happened in those few years. And while I was in hospital or whatever, I had a lot of time to think and to reflect. And my focus was always on what's next, not about what's now. Like I was hooked up to trolleys and drips, which just every day just ran into the next like a continuum. So I was just waiting to break free. So a career and work was pretty much the only context which I could reclaim, in which I could be the me that I had always envisioned once again. So for me, work was not just, it wasn't even a choice, it was like a religion. It was like in my blood. It was the only way I could technically come back. So, and for me, I needed to tangibly feel that I could still be everything that I'd always planned for myself. Now, whether it be as a businesswoman or as a leader or as a speaker or whatever, all of this has evolved like further down the line. But at that point when I was, felt like nothing, I felt like zero, just sitting. And in fact, my mouth was wired shut at that time. So I had to be silent for a really long time. So I wasn't just surrounded by just my thoughts, I was even holding my tongue technically. So which is a really, more than being difficult, I think it sort of helped me put together a whole lot of pent up energy, which I don't think has stopped since I sort of broke free from that scenario. And I think the workplace is a great place to find yourself again, or at least for me, that was the one place where I wanted to find myself again and give myself, so to speak, a context that had value. Value not just to myself, but to an organization, to people, to the world. I didn't want to be a statistic. Just like the other people, and most people in ICU, like they say, what do we all have in common? We all die. So I didn't. So I kind of, and if I didn't die, I had to make something of it. Right? So that's what I've always had consistently going on within me. And the workplace is, for anybody out there who still, for me, the accident was a bit of an extreme scenario, but anyone who's struggling to find themselves or feels marginalized or doesn't feel heard, finding something you love to do and then doing it well in that context, in the context of the workplace, is a phenomenal way to become who you always dreamed of being. Because no one wants to be, you don't matter. Everybody needs to matter. And for me, I needed to matter more than I think anybody else probably felt that, because I felt so invisible. And so I came after it with a vengeance. And like I said to you, I think at another time, 500% or more. And it still goes, which is why, I think motivation, when it comes to whether it comes to my workplace or my life, I don't do anything less than 1,000%, because I have so much inside me still left to give. And I know what it's like when I couldn't do anything. I needed to be that, beacon of light that could do things for myself and then perhaps for others.
Anjali's professional life has shown growth, expansion, a whole lot of excitement and constant learning.
Learning is a no-end road for me. I don't think I will ever stop learning. And I think it has always been a journey of mine even before the accident. So we don't want to say, oh, the accident defined my pursuit of learning. It didn't. But learning was just a lot easier before that because I had everything in place. I had my face, I had my vision. I know we're talking about it like, a handbag, but it's important, as critical. So so when I think about it, it's like learning became so much more imperative as I lay in that hospital bed, understanding that I had a long way to go. It's kind of like I'd gone back in time and put back like 10, 15 steps, if not more. Most people were just glad I was alive, right? And they were just like, you're breathing, great, that's awesome. So, come on, my life wasn't meant for that. My life was about, I was supposed to have all the excitement that I had planned before. Maybe because I lost everything so early, everything that I've got after that has been a gain. And I wish I could help others, to be honest, to see it that way. Anything that somebody tells you that's going to help you get better is a win. It's not an insult.
So what does work mean to you, Anjali?
Work wakes me up in the morning. Work is my reason to breathe, live, and it's like, it's the blood running through my veins because it's how I create value, like for me, on a daily basis, right? It's a different opportunity to show your skills, to learn something, to rock and roll with people, find a team that loves you, find a team that hates you. Both are important. And I've had so much fun in my work life because I've always done something I was passionate about. And when I hit that ceiling, when I felt I stopped growing, I pivoted and moved on. It doesn't matter how big your role is, small your role is. You have to treat it with importance, with responsibility, and you have to know that you're doing it because it's relevant. It's relevant to you, it's obviously relevant to others. But it will only show up in terms of value, the amount of respect you put into it. So I think respecting what you do and owning that space. So whether, so it doesn't matter if somebody's the CFO or just the marketing person or somebody who's holding a video camera. It is the way you approach it that brings value to the organization. So work for me is while it's professional in its contours, it's very emotional in purpose. And that's what it does. It's very fulfilling for me. I think when I look back in time and see what I saw when I looked at the mirror the first time was I saw something that was broken, something that was fractured, something that didn't look like what I was born with, what I'd envisioned it to be. It was devastated. And I think that day I decided that I was never going to live like that. That I was never going to live with something that I was unhappy with something that was broken, imperfect, and just fractured in every sense. So I think from that day on, I decided to start putting things together in a way that they made sense, that they were congruent, that it was beautiful. And work gave me the opportunity to do that because in every situation at work, at every discussion, every meeting, every time we closed a deal, I get to be perfect and I get to be successful and I get to be complete and I don't have to be fractured and I don't have to be a loser. So that's what work is. It gives me that opportunity to have one comeback, two comebacks, a million comebacks. My life has been a series of comebacks. And you know what? Who doesn't like that kind of story? You know what I'm saying? I actually started getting, I was pleased with the way things were happening because it gave me that opportunity. It wasn't about what I looked like or what I felt like that day. It was about how well I did my job. And I look at how work has played a role in my life going forward, it's given me the ability to look beyond my past. My past no longer matters. It happened, yes. It has given my life context, indeed. If anything, it's given me more commitment and energy that I perhaps even would have had earlier. But it certainly has not defined me and certainly will not define anything moving forward.